Imagine if you were reincarnated in a fantasy world as a crown prince but were disowned by your parents shortly after your birth because they thought your magic level was incredibly low. Hey guys, we're starting this new season in July with the anime I Actually the Strongest. Haruta is a man who suffered a lot in elementary school, so he dropped out of school and spent his last 5 years indoors. One day, a strong light emits from the screen of his smartphone, and suddenly he comes across a goddess congratulating him for having been selected to reincarnate. She informs him that in this new world, magic is absolute, so she will give him an awesome ability to make his life easier. As usual, Haruta was an excellent otaku who spent his days engrossed in anime and games, so in order to have a peaceful life, he accepts to reincarnate and use this awesome ability to have an easy life. When he opens his eyes, he notices that he has started his new beginning as a bald baby named Reinhardt. His father, the king, is very happy and tells his wife that a new prince has just been born, and since he has the royal mark on his chest, there is no doubt that he is his son. He wastes no time and orders an orb to be used to evaluate the baby's magic. The king reflects that the child born from the union of him and his wife, the Princess of Light who defeated the Demon Lord, must have unparalleled potential, being level 50 or higher, but to his surprise he is only level 2, besides not having any elements and only being able to use barrier magic. The damned king asks how something so crude like their son was born. She also thinks the same, so she decides to say that Prince Reinhardt died after his birth. In the world of the deities, the goddess runs desperately to her divine colleague. She says that she gave powerful abilities to someone who was reincarnated, but nobody noticed. Apparently the mana measuring devices in that world only show 2 digits, and when asked what level she gave the boy, the goddess reveals that she gave him the exaggerated level 1002. Seeing such a display of power, she quickly says that she surrenders. The boy thinks there is someone there, but continues his attack until he realizes that the voice was coming from the creature. Now calmer, Fenrir claims that she tried to eat him to restore her mana, but she didn't expect the baby to be so powerful. He tries to communicate but obviously can't speak, making the creature wonder why he was acting rationally during the fight. The boy has the brilliant idea of creating a barrier that transforms thoughts into sound and placing it in his throat so he can speak normally. When asked who he really is, he reflects that Reinhardt is a very long name, so he introduces himself as Raruto and explains that he was born in a certain kingdom but was abandoned because his mana level was too low. Fenrir finds this strange because she feels a mana emanating from him that exceeds human limits. Desperate, she asks if he is the reincarnation of the Demon King, since she didn't want to reveal that he was an unemployed recluse. He decides to lie and confirms that he is the Demon King, which she believed without even questioning. She admits her defeat and tells him to take her life, but Raruto thinks this is unnecessary and tells her not to attack him in the future, so she swears that she will protect him by his name. Fire Fenrir. He then calls her Flay and decides to follow her path. Upon hearing this name, she reflects that she is quite lucky and calls out to the boy. She says that since he has now been given a name, they have both made a contract and Raruto is her new master from today on. He tries to explain that he only called her that so as not to say such a long name, but she doesn't give a damn when he is about to say that he didn't intend to make a contract. He loses his strength and falls to the ground, but it wasn't because he ran out of mana, but because he is hungry, and since he is a newborn, he needs breast milk to get the nutrients necessary for his growth, since he couldn't help his master in his current form. Flay decides to change his form and transforms into a Demolmano, since she couldn't be without clothes. Raruto surrounds her with the black barrier that joins her and forms a suit of clothes, but unfortunately she cannot solve her master's problem. While they are talking, Flay hears that someone is approaching them. He convinces her to use dialogue instead of violence and uses his magic so that she can hear his thoughts. A warrior in armor approaches them. When asked about what he is doing in that place, he informs her that he came to get the child, but she simply denies, saying that now this child has become her master and therefore he belongs to him. The warrior explains that Haruto is the son of a relative of his, and even though he was abandoned for certain reasons, he is there to save him. Besides thinking that the child might be hungry, so he decided to bring a bag with breast milk. Haruto tells her to get this bag, but the fool thinks that the man set up this plan because he knew that she would not be able to breastfeed the baby. When asked why he cares so much about this child, he explains that his wife got pregnant once, but her child ended up not surviving, so when he found out that the baby had been discarded because it had no potential, he decided to help her, claiming that every child that comes into the world deserves it live. Upon hearing such a tragic story, Flay starts to cry immediately. Seeing that she is not a bad person and that she will not abandon her master, the man proposes that she work in his castle so that she can take care of Haruto while he receives the proper care. Since she had no other option, Flay accepts the deal. Before leaving, they break the basket that the child was in to create a fake scene. After doing this, they head to their new home. Thus, 9 years have passed since they were under the care of Marquis Gold. Haruto did not intend to stay for long, but ended up giving in to to the comfort he feels when he is with his family. Apparently, he does not get along very well with his little sister Charlotte, which makes him very sad because he does not know why she hates him. But with Flay, it is completely different, where the girl is super attached to her. Charlotte invites her to play together, but her request is refused. But Flay reconsiders when her master tells them to play together. While they were having fun outside, Haruto just watched from the window. At that moment, his mother appears and tells him not to feel bad about it. She claims that her daughter feels awkward around him because she doesn't know how to act with boys her own age. But on the other hand, she manages to get along very well with Flay, who is also a girl. But this only feeds the boy's paranoia because now he thinks that his little sister has noticed that he is actually an uncle of almost 30 years old. His mother then gives him the idea of doing something special for Charlotte. This way he will show her the good side of having an older brother and change the way she sees him. He also tells him not to stay locked in his room all day and to play with his little sister from time to time. In his room, lying on the bed, Haruto reflects that he wants to be independent, but if he leaves, Flay will go with him, which would consequently make his little sister hate him even more. But if he leaves Flay, she would most likely prefer to throw her life away rather than not serve her master. In order to leave, Haruto has studied a lot about barrier magic and managed to make a kind of copy of himself, but despite how identical he seems, he cannot speak or move, and he also has to make a copy of Flay if he wants to leave. At that moment, his father calls him. Outside, Gold says that he will start teaching him how to use a sword because he must develop other skills since he has an extremely low level of magic. Haruto says that he has been studying ancient magic, making his father think that the boy has found potential in the magic of the mythical era, and he concludes that this is the reason why the boy stays locked in his room all day. But before running away from training, Gold says who needs to test everything and points out that he might have a talent for fencing. Since he has no other option, he accepts to take this test. Haruto knows that his father is an experienced warrior and is known throughout the kingdom as the Trembling Warhammer. To avoid getting hurt, he uses a barrier to cover his body and advances towards his father with a lunge, but his strength is so great that he ends up breaking his sword, which leaves his father frightened, especially when he sees the hole in the ground. To test the boy, he applies a blow from the side, but Haruto manages to dodge it, leaving both his father and himself impressed. Gold warns that to dodge such a blow, he must be at least level 30. Haruto is also curious about this, but remembers that one day he suspected that his mana could have 3 digits, but only confirmed that it really is level 2. Since the highest level of a human was 77, he did not even consider looking for a 4th digit. In addition to concluding that not having an element allows him to use magic more efficiently, Haruto wonders if this is such an appealing ability that the goddess gave him. His father concludes that the boy had an unconscious awakening, so he decides to train him to be a first-class swordsman, while his little sister just watched from afar later, talking to his wife. Gold explains that he started Haruto's training and raises the hypothesis that he is a demon who returned to the world. According to him, some time ago, in the royal family, someone had an affair with a demon and, as rare as it is, someone with demonic traits can still be born. Gold points out that the royal mark has powers that are still unknown. In addition to explaining why Flea shows so much respect for him, the woman claims that her son is a normal child, and the two conclude that they will make her son happy no matter what happens. Charlotte, who was awake, heard everything and in her mind emphasizes that there is no way her brother is a demon. So, friends, will Haruto achieve his independence? Will his little sister be able to get close to him one day? I honestly think she realized that he is adopted, maybe because his hair color is completely different? I don't know, huh? Anyway, if you want to see the continuation of this new anime of the season, leave it in the comments. Did you like the video? Subscribe to the channel with the bell activated so you don't miss the next anime stories. See you next time.